The stars outside the glass panels of Outpost Vega 9 shimmered like scattered diamonds. It was a quiet night in the frontier station, or at least that was what the human crew believed. Commander Elias Kane stood at the command deck, hands behind his back, eyes on the vast dark sea of space. He was not a soldier by nature. He was a linguist trained in ancient codes and languages. But the frontier was dangerous and Earth had demanded more officers, so here he was. Elias often told himself he belonged among books and records, not weapons and alarms. Yet, duty had a way of ignoring personal wishes. The silence broke when the sirens howled. Red lights flashed along the corridors. Every console screamed warning signals. Boarding parties detected, shouted Lieutenant Harris, eyes wide as he stared at the scanners. Multiple life signs. Not human. Before Elias could give an order, the metal bulkhead at the far end of the deck shuddered. Sparks flew as plasma torches cut a glowing line. A circle of steel fell and the intruders entered. They were tall, far taller than any human, each wrapped in dark armor that gleamed like obsidian. Their eyes glowed faintly amber. Blades hung at their sides, curved and cruel, humming with alien energy. "The Kareth," whispered Harris, fear in his voice. Elias had heard the name. Everyone had. The Kareth were warriors, a race bred for conquest. Where they went, blood followed. Humanity had never faced them directly before. Until now. The leader stepped forward, towering above the crew. Her armor was etched with strange markings. She moved like a storm contained in flesh. Her voice thundered across the deck. "Humans, weak, soft, you dare claim this frontier? You dare touch Kareth space?" Her accent was thick, her words rough, but Elias could understand. His heart pounded. He had studied fragments of their language before, but to hear it directly was different. It was like stone grinding against metal. The warrior drew her blade. Its edges glowed blue. "I will end your command myself." The crew scrambled for weapons, but Elias lifted a hand. He saw something in her stance, something beyond rage. He had studied words, sounds, forgotten texts, and in this instant something rose from the depths of memory, a fragment he had read months ago from a broken tablet. A name. He should not have known it. No outsider should, but the word echoed in his mind as if waiting for this very moment. Her blade lifted. The crew shouted in panic. Elias stepped forward, his voice steady though his body trembled. "Karin." The word was soft, yet it cut through the chaos like lightning through clouds. The alien froze. Her amber eyes widened. The blade slipped from her fingers, clattering onto the deck with a sound that rang louder than any alarm. The room fell silent. Every human stared, mouths open. The Kareth warriors behind their leader stiffened, unsure whether to attack or kneel. The towering warrior, Karin, did not move. Her breath was heavy, controlled. She stared at Elias as if seeing not a man but something impossible. Slowly she lowered her head. "You," her voice trembled, stripped of its thunder. "How do you speak that name?" Elias swallowed, his throat dry. "I read it. Long ago, I didn't mean—" "Silence." Her voice cracked, but not with anger. With fear. The crew exchanged confused looks. Harris raised his weapon again, whispering, "Commander, what did you just do?" Elias shook his head. He wasn't sure himself. All he knew was that he had spoken a word, a name, and it had shattered the battle before it even began. The Kareth behind Karin shifted uncomfortably. One of them growled. "She has been bound. Her blade has fallen. This cannot be." Karin turned on him, her eyes burning. "Do not question what has been spoken." The alien stepped back, and to the shock of every human, she bent one knee to the floor. A warrior kneeling to an enemy. Elias felt the weight of the moment. His chest tightened. He was no soldier, no fighter. But somehow he had broken the rhythm of war with a single word. Karin lifted her gaze. "Know my true name. No outsider should. By our laws, I cannot strike you. By our soul bond, I cannot stand against you. You have claimed me." The words hit Elias like a storm. Claimed her. What did that even mean? He had only spoken what he remembered. A piece of language from an old ruin. He never thought it had power. The humans whispered among themselves, some in awe, some in fear. Harris stepped closer. "Commander, maybe it's a trick. Maybe she's buying time." But Elias saw the truth in her eyes. There was no trick. There was terror. A warrior who feared nothing was afraid now, afraid of one word. Corinne picked up her fallen blade and held it out, not by the handle, but by the edge, offering it to him. By oath, I surrender this weapon. You spoke the name hidden in my blood. That cannot be undone. Elias hesitated, but finally he took the blade. It was heavy, pulsing with alien energy. The room seemed colder. Why? He asked quietly. Why does a name matter so much? Corinne's gaze lowered. Because a true name is not sound. It is soul. Only kin may speak it. Only blood may know it. Yet you, a human, spoke mine. That cannot happen, unless fate itself has chosen you. Her words sent a ripple through the crew. Some saw danger. Others saw opportunity. Elias only saw uncertainty. The alarms quieted. The Kareth warriors did not attack again. They stood frozen, watching their leader kneel before a human. The war that should have begun in fire and blood ended instead in silence and confusion. Elias Kane had no idea what path had just opened. But he knew one thing with certainty. Nothing about humanity's future in the stars would ever be the same again. The silence in Outpost Vega 9 lingered long after Corinne dropped her blade. The hum of the station's engines and the occasional spark from the damaged bulkhead were the only sounds. Humans moved cautiously, unsure what to do next. Some stared at Corinne in fear, others in awe. None dared touch her. Elias Kane held the alien's weapon in his hands. Its weight was unlike anything he had known. Not heavy like a human sword, but alive, thrumming softly as if it could feel. He did not know what to do with it. Corinne's eyes followed him, unwavering, like a hawk watching its prey. Finally, she spoke. Her voice was low, almost a whisper, but every word carried power. You know my true name? Elias swallowed. I did not know it would matter like this. I just pieced it together. From old ruins, broken words, fragments of your language. Corinne's amber eyes narrowed. You should not have spoken it. No outsider ever should. It is forbidden. Sacred. It is not sound. It is life. It is my soul. The human crew exchanged uneasy glances. Lieutenant Harris stepped forward cautiously. Commander, can she attack us now, or is this a permanent rule? Corinne shook her head. I cannot strike you. Not while you know my true name. To raise my blade against you would bring dishonor that no warrior could survive. Even my kin would see it as a curse. Elias's heart pounded. He had never imagined a word could wield such power. Humans were used to technology, weapons, and strategy. Yet here, a simple word, his knowledge of a name, had shattered the balance of power. Then, what does it mean? He asked carefully. You kneel and your warriors do not attack. Is this some kind of law or prophecy? Corinne's gaze dropped to the floor. It is both. A true name binds the speaker and the named. To speak it is to touch the soul of the one named. To hear it is to be bound by fate. My warriors, my people, they will question what has happened here. Some may see it as heresy, others as destiny. Elias tried to process the weight of her words. He had been a scholar of languages, a finder of lost knowledge, but he had never expected such knowledge to carry power beyond comprehension. A name, a mere word, could command obedience, loyalty, and fear. Are you saying they won't fight me now? Harris asked, still keeping his distance. Corinne's eyes flashed. I will fight if I must, but not against you, not while the name is known. To do so would break all bonds of honor in Kareth culture. My life would belong to the council, and my soul would be forfeit. The crew stepped back. The humans had never faced anything like this. They were strong, yes, but they relied on tools and numbers. Now a single word had shifted power in a way they could not understand. Elias kept his mind sharp. Then we must understand this. Corinne, I do not mean to offend, but your people, will they come for me, for us, because of what I just said? The Kareth warrior remained silent for a long moment, her head bowed. Finally she spoke, voice low and tense. Yes, some will. The High Council will hear of this. To know a true name, a human, it is unheard of. To speak it, it is dangerous. To us it is as if the universe itself has shifted. Elias exhaled. And what about you? Do you trust me, or are you bound by fear? Corinne lifted her eyes slowly. Both. I'm bound by honor, yes, but also by something else. You have done the impossible. A human has touched my soul with a word, and yet I see in you a choice that my people cannot imagine. The weight of her words pressed on him. He had faced enemies before, but never one that feared his knowledge. He had relied on reasoning, planning, and diplomacy. Now he realized humans had a different kind of strength, the kind that comes from understanding, not violence. Suddenly, a group of Kareth warriors stepped forward, armor clanking, eyes glowing amber. Elias tensed, expecting an attack, but they stopped a few meters away, kneeling just as Kairin had done. "You see," Kairin said softly, "they follow the bond. They do not know if it is right or wrong, but it cannot be broken." The humans stared. To see an alien warrior kneel, to see an entire group hesitate, was like stepping into a... News traveled faster than the speed of thought within the Kareth fleet. Across hundreds of light years, whispers of the human who spoke Kairin's true name spread like fire. For a species bred for war, where strength and obedience were law, the idea that an outsider could touch a warrior's soul was both impossible and dangerous. High Command convened immediately aboard the flagship Vorthak, a colossal warship built from blackened metal that seemed to drink the light around it. The council chamber was vast, circular and cold. Council members, each taller than any human, sat on raised platforms. Their eyes glowed amber, and their voices, when they spoke, resonated with authority and fury. A Kareth messenger arrived, trembling despite her armor. "High Council," she reported, voice sharp. "A human on Outpost Vega 9 has spoken the true name of Kairin, the champion of our people. The warrior herself is bound and does not resist. This is unprecedented." The council erupted in sound. Voices overlapped, some shouting for immediate action, others demanding caution. One elder banged a fist on the crystalline table. "Impossible," he roared. "No outsider may know a true name. No human, they are weak, fragile. How can one of them touch the soul of a Kareth warrior?" Another counselor spoke calmly, though her tone carried sharp steel. "We do not understand what has happened. It may be a sign from the stars, or a trick. We must investigate carefully. The warrior herself kneels, and yet her name has been spoken. This is not simply disobedience. It is fate challenging us." The chamber divided into factions immediately. Some, the traditionalists, demanded war. They argued that the human must be destroyed before he brought dishonor upon Kareth society. Others, the seers, saw opportunity. They whispered of prophecy, of a long-lost fragment of the Kareth texts that spoke of an outsider who would speak a true name and change the course of history. Kairin's own presence became a point of contention. To some, she was a traitor for allowing her name to be spoken. To others, she was a symbol of destiny, the key to understanding what had occurred. Meanwhile, across light years in Outpost Vega 9, Elias Kane could feel the ripple of change even without knowing its full scope. He sat in the command room, Kairin standing silently at his side, her armor dimly glowing in the soft lights. "We are not safe," she said finally, breaking the silence. Her voice was low, almost mournful. "My people, they will come. Some to kill, others to watch. Some may even worship. But none will ignore this. You have shifted the tide, human, and the tide is not gentle." Elias nodded. He had expected danger, but the scope was larger than he imagined. Humans were scattered across the frontier, each colony small, vulnerable, and isolated. A Kareth fleet descending on even one of them could mean destruction. And yet, there was a strange sense of hope in what had happened. Humans had survived impossible odds before, and now they had a tool no one else possessed: knowledge, understanding, and courage. Kairin stepped closer. "Your language, your words, they have power. Not like our weapons, not like our blades, but they touch the soul. This is dangerous, to both of us." Elias carefully placed his hand on the table, fingers brushing the Kareth blade he still held. "We cannot fight them with weapons alone," he said. "We need knowledge, understanding. Perhaps we can turn this advantage into something more than survival." Kairin tilted her head, considering. "Perhaps. But the Council, they do not think like humans. They see honor in blood. Some will see your act as impossible, unholy even. Others may believe you are chosen by the stars themselves. The question is, which path will they follow?" Back in the Kareth Council chamber, the debate raged. The traditionalists argued fiercely, pounding tables, demanding immediate action. "Send hunters! Kill the human before he spreads his influence," the seers countered, their voices calm but firm. "Do not underestimate him. He is not a simple human. He speaks with knowledge of the ancients. He may understand the language of souls. To destroy him is to invite misfortune. Observe, study, learn." A younger counselor, barely 30 cycles old, spoke up. "But what of Kairin?" She kneels. She does not resist. Her warriors hesitate. This cannot continue. The bond of a true name cannot be ignored. If we act in anger, we may break our own laws. We may fracture our people. The room fell silent for a moment, as if even the walls themselves were listening. Then the council voted. It was a fragile decision. Half the council demanded action, half demanded patience. Neither side would compromise fully. The council agreed to send observers and enforcers, some to watch, some to judge, some to punish if necessary. The seeds of division had been planted. Back on Outpost Vega 9, the humans had little time to dwell on the complexity of alien politics. Karin led them through the corridors of the station, explaining the meaning of her people's rituals, codes, and laws. "Your people do not understand honor as we do," she said softly. "They believe strength is all, but our strength is bound to loyalty, to law, to truth. You have touched a part of that law no one else may touch. Some will see it as salvation, others as betrayal. You must be careful." Elias listened, absorbing every word. He realized that understanding Kareth culture was not optional. Their rules were absolute, and missteps could bring annihilation. Yet knowledge was also a weapon of subtlety, not force. "Then we must learn," he said firmly. "Learn everything we can. Every law, every custom, every tradition. We cannot fight them with weapons alone, but perhaps we can survive, and even thrive, by understanding them better than they understand us." Karen's eyes softened, a rare warmth breaking through her stoic exterior. "Humans are different. You do not rely only on strength. You rely on thinking, on questioning, on knowledge. That is why you survived where others failed. Perhaps that is why you could speak my name. Perhaps, and that is why fate has chosen this path." The days that followed were tense. Kareth observers began appearing in the sector, scanning, watching, and occasionally communicating through intermediaries. They did not attack outright, but their presence was enough to keep the humans on edge. Every message, every movement was analyzed for hidden meaning. Meanwhile, Karin shared fragments of her culture with Elias and his team. She explained that Kareth warriors were not only bound by bloodlines, but also by codes that dictated every action: how to fight, how to speak, how to honor others. Speaking a true name was equivalent to touching the core of a warrior's being, a power that could command loyalty, fear, or devotion. Elias realized that humanity, too, had such power, not through mysticism but through understanding. Knowledge was the bridge between fear and respect. Communication, intelligence, and courage could bind allies, disarm enemies, and even prevent war. Yet he also knew that the Kareth were proud, stubborn, and unforgiving. Some factions would never forgive what he had done. Some would hunt him across light years, determined to restore honor. The path ahead was narrow, dangerous, and uncertain. Karin placed a hand on his shoulder, firm and resolute. "You have awakened something in them," she said. "Some will fight. Some will watch. Some may even join you, but all will remember. This is the cultural rift you have created. The galaxy will never be the same." Elias nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle over him like armor. "Then we must be ready, not just to survive, but to guide, to show them what humanity can be: strong, brave, clever, and worthy." As night fell over the outpost, the stars outside seemed brighter than ever. Yet in those distant lights, somewhere far beyond human reach, Kareth fleets moved. Eyes watched. Questions stirred. And the bond of a name, a simple human word, had become a force that would shape the galaxy itself. The cultural rift had begun. Factions would rise, loyalties would break, and choices would come. Humanity had entered the Kareth world not with weapons, not with fire, but with understanding, courage, and the power of a single name. And in that knowledge, Elias Kane felt something new: hope. The quiet of Outpost Vega 9 did not last. Even as the human crew tried to return to routine, the ripple of what Elias Kane had done spread like wildfire. Kareth observers watched from orbiting ships, and distant scouts transmitted every movement back to the High Council. Karin moved through the station with calm precision, yet her amber eyes betrayed worry. "The Council will not ignore this," she warned. "Some will see your act as impossible, even dangerous. Others may call it destiny, but all will act, and some of them will come to kill you." Elias nodded. He had spent years studying languages, codes, and diplomacy, but nothing had prepared him for this. He had not expected to hold power with words alone, yet here he was, holding a blade that belonged to a warrior whose entire soul was bound by a single name he had spoken. The first signs of trouble arrived not with fire or lasers, but with silence. Communications from other human colonies in the sector went dark. Scout ships reported unusual Kareth activity, fleets gathering along trade routes, patrols sweeping through space like shadows hunting prey. Lieutenant Harris approached him in the command center. "Commander, they're moving faster than I imagined. Kareth ships, all heavily armed, are heading toward us, not to attack yet, but to observe. And some are sending warnings. If we move, we are marked as targets." Elias closed his eyes, trying to think. "They are testing us," he said finally. "Not just the outpost, not just me. They are testing himself."
We have...
The transport pod shook violently as it entered Kareth space, carrying Elias Kane and Karen toward the heart of the Kareth Empire. The vast starfield outside the viewport seemed endless, a silent witness to the tension inside. Karen remained calm, though her amber eyes glowed with quiet worry. Elias, despite his calm demeanor, felt the weight of the moment pressing down on him like the gravity of a neutron star. Ahead, the colossal flagship Vorthak loomed. Its blackened hull swallowed light and radiated authority. This was the seat of the High Council, the place where decisions of war and peace were made for an entire warrior species. And now Elias was summoned, not as a diplomat, not as a scholar, but as a human who had spoken the true name of Karen, the Kareth champion. The pod docked silently, and they were escorted through endless corridors lined with alien symbols. Warriors observed them with stoic expressions, their blades at rest but ready. The air smelled faintly metallic, and every footstep echoed in the vast halls. At last, they entered the council chamber. The space was enormous, circular, and cold. Elevated platforms surrounded a polished crystalline table at the center. Council members, each taller than any human by several feet, glared down at them. Their amber eyes burned with judgment, suspicion, and curiosity. Karen knelt beside Elias. "Remember," she whispered, "speak only truth. Your words may save or condemn. Honor is everything here." Elias nodded, though his heart raced. He had studied languages, codes, and diplomacy, but this was something else entirely. He had never faced a culture where a single word could carry such weight. The High Council spoke as one, their voices overlapping. "Human," one elder said, "you have done the impossible. You have spoken the true name of Karen. Explain yourself. How did you acquire forbidden knowledge?" Elias inhaled, steadying himself. "I pieced it together from ancient ruins and fragments of your language long forgotten. I did not know it would matter. I did not intend offense. I only sought understanding." A murmur ran through the council. Some elders banged their fists, demanding immediate punishment. Others leaned forward, intrigued. One young counselor raised a hand. "Impossible. No outsider may know a true name. Yet here you stand. Perhaps this prophecy is real." Karen rose slightly. "I testify that he speaks the truth. His knowledge comes not from malice or theft. He discovered fragments hidden in ruins, piecing them together carefully. He has honor." The council was divided instantly. Half the elders shouted for execution, claiming that Elias had brought dishonor to Kareth society. The other half called for investigation, suggesting that he might hold the key to an ancient prophecy. Elias felt the weight of every gaze. He had faced danger before, space pirates, hostile planets, even rogue AI, but never had words carried such consequence. Here his knowledge was more dangerous than any weapon. One elder slammed a clawed hand on the crystalline table. "Execution!" he roared. "To let this continue is heresy. To allow a human to speak a true name is insult and threat." "He must die," another counselor countered, voice calm but powerful. "Patience, observation, study. There are fragments in our ancient texts that speak of an outsider who would speak a true name and change the course of history. Perhaps this is him. Perhaps he is chosen by the stars themselves." The debate grew heated, voices overlapping, each argument sharper than the last. Karen stepped forward, her voice firm and unwavering. "You speak of prophecy and law, yet you ignore the truth. He has honor. He has done nothing but speak what he discovered. To punish him would be wrong." Silence fell for a moment. Then a young counselor, barely 30 cycles old, leaned forward. "And yet," he said slowly, "he has disturbed balance. He has touched what no outsider should touch. If he is chosen, Will he obey our laws? Or will he bring chaos? Elias stepped forward carefully, raising his hands to show he carried no weapon. I am not here to bring chaos. I am here to survive, yes, but also to learn and to show respect. Humanity is not only strong in arms. We survive with courage, understanding, and knowledge. I do not seek to dominate, only to live and to cooperate where possible. A murmur of curiosity spread through the chamber. Some elders whispered to one another, clearly intrigued. Elias realized that his words, spoken with sincerity, carried weight. They were judging intent as much as action. Corinne's voice rang out again. I swear upon my honor he is truthful. He did not seek to harm me or our people. His actions were guided by curiosity and respect. His understanding may help, not harm, our species. The council fell silent. Even the most conservative elders considered her words. Corinne's honor carried power that no speech could match. She was a champion, a soul-bound warrior. Her testimony was undeniable. Finally, the eldest counselor, his claws drumming slowly on the table, spoke. We must consider the prophecy. Perhaps this human is the name speaker foretold. Perhaps he has awakened something lost to our people. We cannot destroy him without risk, and yet he cannot remain free without caution. Elias's heart pounded. He was neither judge nor warrior, yet here he was, standing before the mightiest council of an alien species, his fate and the fate of human outposts, resting on his words and the truth in his heart. Then let me prove myself, Elias said firmly, not by words alone, but by actions. Let me show that humanity can be more than fear, more than weapons, more than mere survival. Let me stand beside Corinne and work with you, to protect your people as well as ours. Give me the chance to earn trust. A tense silence followed. The council conferred in low whispers, their glowing eyes scanning one another. Corinne knelt beside Elias, silent but supportive. At last a voice rang out.
Very well, said the eldest counselor.
He shall be tested, not by trial of arms, not by duel, but by truth. Let him demonstrate the courage and wisdom that brought him to this place. Let his deeds and the strength of his understanding determine whether he lives or dies. Elias exhaled, relief mixing with tension. He knew the road ahead would be perilous. This trial would not be simple. The council would watch every move, every word, every choice. One mistake, one misstep, could mean death for him, Corinne, and perhaps even the human colonies in the frontier. The first stage of the trial began immediately. He was asked questions, puzzles, and riddles drawn from Kareth history, culture, and philosophy. Every answer required patience, reasoning, and understanding. Corinne whispered guidance where she could, translating cultural nuances, explaining unspoken rules. Hours passed. Elias faced moral dilemmas, tests of leadership, and trials of patience. He had to balance honesty with diplomacy, courage with humility. Every decision was scrutinized, every gesture analyzed. At last, after what felt like a lifetime, the council stood. The room was silent save for the hum of alien energy. The eldest counselor's eyes softened slightly. He has endured the trial of truth. He has spoken honestly. He has demonstrated wisdom, courage, and understanding beyond what any outsider could be expected to know. He may live. Corinne rose and placed a hand on Elias's shoulder. You have done well, she said quietly. But do not think this ends here. Others will test you. Others will challenge what you have done. The storm is not over, but this is a beginning. Elias looked at the council. He felt exhaustion, fear, and hope all at once. The weight of his name, the weight of Corinne's soul, and the expectations of an entire species rested on his shoulders. But for the first time, he understood something crucial. Humanity's greatest power was not weapons or numbers. It was courage, understanding, and the willingness to face impossible odds with truth. The council finally spoke. Let him live for now, but he is name speaker, and as name speaker, his path will shape the destiny of Kareth and human alike. Watch him carefully, teach him carefully, for one misstep may bring ruin. Elias exhaled, relief and determination mixing in his chest. The trial had not destroyed him. It had not ended, but it had begun a new chapter. Humanity had survived the judgment of the Kareth High Council, not by strength of arms, but by courage, understanding, and truth. Outside the chamber, Corinne's amber eyes met his. We have survived this trial, she said softly. But the storm approaches. You have won this round, but the galaxy will not wait. Elias gripped the Kareth blade lightly, feeling its hum beneath his fingers. Then we face it, he said. Together. Karen nodded, and together they stepped out of the chamber, ready for whatever the galaxy would throw at them next. The stars outside Outpost Vega 9 had never looked more alive. Ships moved in coordinated patterns, distant suns glimmered in strange colors, and the dark void seemed almost to hum with expectation. Humanity had survived the trial of truth, but Elias Kane knew that survival was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of unknowns, and the Kareth High Council had not forgotten the ripple he had caused. Karen walked beside him through the command center, her armor reflecting the pale lights of the station. She moved with grace, calm and controlled, but Elias could sense the tension behind her amber eyes. "The Council has accepted you. For now," she said, "but the storm is not over. Others will test you, your people, and this alliance you have begun. You must be ready." Elias nodded. "I understand. But we have gained something crucial, trust. Not just between us, but with some of the Council. And that can change everything." Outside the outpost, human colonies were reconnecting.